Mr. Secretary, what is a transgender child?
A child in America is a child in America, and I hope you and I can love that child just as much as
Can
we
you
love our own.
define what a transgender child is?
Welcome to this family. Hit that button, say subscribe, and join the ride. You feel me? Alright, chat. Welcome back to another video. We finally got y'all part 2 when these politicians is destroying these woke people.
We have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
For every politician like Kamala Harris, there's another who's the complete opposite, like Donald Trump. And today we will witness 6 politicians who took a stand and dismantled the woke agenda. And who better to start with than Donald Trump? Known for his unfiltered approach, Trump has never backed down from challenging the woke agenda, and his followers stand firmly behind him. At the Turning Point Summit in Florida on July 27, 2024, Trump delivered a powerful speech, with the crowd cheering him on as he tore into woke ideology.
But how does a Jewish person vote for a Democrat? How does a Catholic person vote for a Democrat? With what they're doing to Catholics, I just don't get it. Somebody doesn't like Catholics in that administration, and I don't even know who it is. I don't think it's Biden, because I don't think he has any idea what the hell he's doing. I don't think he has any ideas on any subject. Kamala Harris supports California's outrageous new law trampling on parental rights and allowing minors to change their gender without parental notification or consent. Can you imagine? She's in favor of that, by the way. Or she was. She's probably losing. You know, they're losing as much as they can. But remember, a politician always goes back to where they started. Harris wants to forcibly compel doctors and nurses against their will to give chemical castration drugs to young children. You know that, right? She totally supports that. And she supports the Biden-Harris Title IX policy of forcing every public school in America to let men into women's and girls' locker rooms.
Is that true?
Can you imagine? It's like, what are we doing? What? You know, the whole world is laughing at us. You do know that, right? We've gone wacko. As president, I will protect the safety and well-being of America's children. I will defend the values of the American family. And above all, I will restore common sense to Washington, D.C.
His sharp criticism of Kamala Harris's support for California's controversial laws, including allowing minors to change their gender without parental consent, had the crowd erupting in agreement. He didn't hold back, accusing the Biden-Harris
I agree with that,
administration of
though.
trampling on
I don't agree with
rights,
a lot of
pushing
things Trump say,
chemical
but I agree with
castration
that.
drugs, and forcing public schools to open women's locker rooms to men. Trump's words resonate with a large section of the country that feels left behind by woke policies. And this sentiment is becoming even more evident as we approach the 2024 election. A tweet shared by Elon Musk features a recent poll which shows Trump pulling ahead of Kamala Harris, with 54% of predicted votes compared to Harris's 45.4%. The data shows that America is fighting back and wokeness collapsing in real time. But Trump isn't fighting this battle alone. Ron DeSantis, the 46th governor of Florida since 2019, has also been vocal in his stance. He's publicly declared that woke needs to die, arguing that it's being used to distort the truth and replace it with woke ideology. But he has made it his mission to confront and dismantle this nonsense. Just listen.
You frequently use the term woke, and you recently said that the word means different things to different people.
Did I just say that?
What does it mean to you?
Woke is a form of cultural Marxism. It's about taking individuality, merit, and achievement and subordinating that to a political agenda based on identity politics. It is effectively displacing the truth in favor of ideology. And I think it's important that we fight against that, because our society does need to be rooted in truth. Don't tell me that a man can get pregnant and expect me to believe that. That is not true, and we can't govern our society based on things that are not true. Second,
I'm sorry. I know I'm not the type of nigga to pause a lot no more. But can we really just take, like, are people really out here saying that men can get pregnant, yo? Like, honestly, that's all I really want to know. There's no way that people are actually saying men can get pregnant, yo. Let's just take that into account, because if you're saying that, then alright, bro, you can't be like running for nobody. Like, there's no way you should be running it. Because why are you saying that, bro? Like, I think we focusing on the wrong things, bro. Like, we still in debt. That U.S. debt counter going up every day, bro. Y'all focus on the wrong thing. We need to get our life together. Talking about men can get pregnant. But no, we cannot, bro. Show me who. You damn. Niggas tweaking, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all like the more laid back reactions? Let me know,
When
too.
that ideology takes hold of institutions,
We don't talk as
it
much.
corrodes the institutions and it produces bad results. For example, when you have woke overtake parts of the economy with things like ESG, they attack energy, they attack other things. The average person ends up poorer as a result of that. When woke overtakes education, you get indoctrination and students end up performing worse as a result of that. When you have ideological prosecutors get into office in cities like San Francisco, they stop prosecuting criminals. The inmates run the asylum. The average person ends up less safe as a result of that. Every jurisdiction in this country that has indulged in this type of leftism, city or state, has failed. How do I know that? Because people that are fleeing are coming to my state in Florida and they're telling me the story about it. So this is not just an academic debate. It's, do we want policy based on tried and true principles, enduring principles that have made our country great? Or are we going to go on some ideological joyride, let people out of prison, do this, do that, and see our quality of life be destroyed? Woke needs to die.
Whether it's education, the economy, or law enforcement, the results are disastrous.
That was a good
leaving
explanation
people
he did,
less
though.
educated and less safe. According to DeSantis, the proof is in the migration. People are fleeing.
I'm not gonna pause a lot, but I actually do need to be watching more politics and staying on top of these things because this is important. Like, my dad always told me about it, but like as a kid, I really don't really care about politics. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see I do have to start voting more and really, you know what I'm saying, vote on who I believe and what I believe in because, man, this country is going. I feel like this country, we in a weird state, you know?
Fleeing woke-governed states and moving to Florida, seeking stability and a better quality of life. But DeSantis isn't the only one calling out the failures of woke policies. Next, we have Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who's been vocal in his fight against the left's radical agenda. Cruz has a strong message of his own about protecting American freedoms.
Judge Brindisi, should biological men be able to expose themselves to unwilling women, including underage girls?
Senator, that's not a view I share.
So your answer is no.
Senator, I want to be somewhat careful because there are a number of cases that are working.
Is your answer yes? You said that's not a view you share.
It's not.
Then why, just a moment ago, Senator Blackburn was asking you about, as a congressman, you were a congressman from 2019 to 2021.
That's correct.
You were original co-sponsor of and you voted for an Orwellian-named extreme piece of Democrat legislation called the Equality Act. The Equality Act mandated that biological men could play in women's sports, could go to women's bathrooms, could go to women's locker room. The women were not asked. The women were not asked if biological men could go into their locker rooms and disrobe with them.
It's absurd that Judge Brindisi showed no awareness of how sponsoring legislation for
That's
equality
crazy.
actually stripped away women's rights. The absence of accountability reveals why leaders like Cruz are fighting against these dangerous woke policies. But he isn't done yet.
You sponsored it and voted for it. You just said a minute ago you didn't agree with men exposing themselves to unwilling women. If you didn't agree with that, why did you sponsor and vote for legislation that would mandate that women be victimized like that?
Facts.
Senator, it's been a number of years since I sponsored that legislation, and I do understand
It's been 4 years.
that there is a.
It's been 4 years.
I understand, Senator.
You're a
For the
grown-ass
last 2
man.
years, I have been.
So that means you a grown ass man. You want to be in the shower with another woman? Like, come on, bro. That don't even seem right. Your whole entire life, you always been going to that stuff in bathrooms. What's like, bro? I never seen. Is there something that was wrong with that? That was your standard, right? Like, that's a woman. I'm a man. I don't understand, bro. Like, I get that. You feel me? People want to identify as. Well, it's just a lot of things that people identify as, but like, come on, let's be real, bro. That is just no. Like, you feel me? Just no. Like, what?
Been serving as
I'm not asking about the last 2 years. You were a member of Congress. You sponsored it and voted for it. Why did you believe
fucking
women
sad,
and
yo.
girls don't have a right to be free from harassment, to be free from biological men
That's the thing.
disrobing in front of them without the women or girls having any right to say anything about it or to protest anything about it? Why did you vote for that?
That's facts. Why
Senator,
did you vote
my
for that?
recollection of the legislation is that
Oh,
it could
God.
prevent discrimination based on
Prevent
gender.
discrimination.
Your recollection is contrary to the explicit text of the statute. Are you fond of ignoring the text of statutes?
Senator, as a sitting judge now, and if I'm fortunate to be confirmed as a district court judge, I will follow statutory.
So but you didn't when you were a congressman. You sponsored it, you voted for it, and by the way, to be clear, for some reason under Joe Biden, the state of New York really is getting hammered with judicial nominees. Another judicial nominee for New York was Judge Sarah Netburn, who on a similar issue ruled she had a serial rapist in front of her, a 6'2" man who was a serial rapist who decided to identify as a woman, and Judge Netburn ordered that 6'2" man to be incarcerated with women.
No way.
Do you think the women in women's prisons have any right, and in particular a right not to be incarcerated, not to have a cellmate who is a 6'2" serial rapist?
Senator, I can assure you, if I become a district court judge, that I will follow the.
My question is, do those women have any rights not to be incarcerated with a 6'2"
Yeah, he got-
biologically male
bro,
serial rapist?
Like, disagree,
think
bro.
every
Like,
person-
come on, you know. I think everyone has a right to feel safe. Okay, bro. Why you being around the bush, bro? To say, like, come on, bro. You hear it, bro. Like, you know you wrong, bro.
Has the right to feel safe, and I can tell you.
Then why did you sponsor and vote for legislation that did not protect that right and violated that right?
Are you noticing a pattern here? Why are these stories exclusively tied to the Biden-Harris administration? It's basic common sense that these woke politicians continue to ignore. It's time to stand up and ensure we don't let our nation fall apart under misguided ideologies.
That did not protect that right and violated that right.
Senator, that was a time when I was a policymaker, and I do understand that there.
Okay, so those are your policy views. By the way, so do you have any regrets for sponsoring the Equality Act? You said apparently you didn't read the statute. You didn't know what it said. Do you have any regrets for sponsoring legislation that would force girls and women to be subjected to harassment from naked biological men? Do you have any regrets for that?
Senator, during my time being a legislator in the House of Representatives,
That's a yes or no.
I sponsored thousands of pieces of.
Okay, so you have no regrets about that. All right.
That's sad, yo.
In the remaining minute, I'm going to shift to Mr.
It's surprising that Judge Brindisi chose to evade a simple yes or no question about whether he
Questions.
regrets supporting a law that endangers women and girls. Senator Ted Cruz did not hold back in his questioning. Cruz's sharp interrogation serves as a powerful reminder of the ongoing
All right, I
battle
think it's
against
time
the
for me to
radical
start
left's
voting.
agenda,
I ain't
particularly
gonna lie.
concerning women's rights and
'Cause
safety.
every time I watch one of these, bro, I'm sorry.
But it's not just
Every time I
men who
watch
are
one of
standing
these,
up
yo,
against woke culture.
it's
Women
like,
politicians
bro,
are
this
also
junk shocked
making
me
their
every
voices heard.
time.
Lauren Boebert is an American politician dedicated to serving Colorado and making tangible changes. Her commitment to challenging the status quo was clearly evident when she confronted Xavier Becerra. Asking the pointed question, can men get pregnant? His response was utterly nonsensical, highlighting the absurdity of the woke agenda.
To start off, as a Secretary of Health and Human Services, can you define for this committee what is a man?
You're looking at one.
Great. So you are a man. I like that. Can you tell me, can men get pregnant?
Unless you know something I don't, I think the answer is pretty obvious.
What is that answer, sir?
I'm asking you, is there something you know that I don't know that would say that a man?
Well, I'm asking what you know. Can men get pregnant?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Well,
Okay, good.
Mr. Secretary, materials coming from your department, you've referred to mothers as birthing persons, replacing that title with
Are mothers not persons?
mothers are persons, but it seems to be more inclusive, like you're trying to include another gender in that.
I'm all about inclusion, Congresswoman.
There you go. Well, just as a mother of 4 boys, I'm not necessarily offended at that. I am a person, but it's just unscientific and absurd
How so?
to include men in that. If you're going to be inclusive, if you're going to be inclusive in birthing persons, yes.
Well, but you
It don't
see,
even sound right, bro. If it don't even sound right, then we know it's not
to
right.
me that you're trying
Let's
to
back up.
define the term.
Reclaiming my time. Can men get pregnant? So then we don't need to include them in this. Mothers are mothers. Moving forward, Mr. Secretary, I want to read for you from a document from your office, the Office of Population Affairs. It says in here, and I quote, gender-affirming care encompasses many facets of healthcare needs and support. It has been shown to increase positive outcomes for transgender and non-binary children. Mr. Secretary, what is a transgender child?
A child in America is a child in America, and I hope you and I can love that child just as much as
Can
we
you
love our
define what a transgender child is?
That's a child in America.
I
It's
can't
an
even
American
define it. I'm gonna
citizen
keep it a
child
buck.
who needs the services and love just the way any other child does.
Mr. Secretary, do you believe that a child is capable of making life-altering decisions to maim themselves?
So let me just say to you that I don't agree with your premise, but what I will say to you is children know much about themselves, and with the help of
Do
their
you believe that children are capable of making the decision to self-regulate?
again, I don't necessarily accept the premise
Well,
of your
Mr. Secretary, I
question.
mean, you have gender-affirming care for young people, so this is something that
I
you
don't
have
equate
looked
gender
over.
affirming care to mutilation. So if that's where you're going, then you're not going to get the answer you want.
Lauren's exchange underscores the absurdity of
All right, so let me finish.
redefining basic truths in the name of political correctness. Her bold inquiries challenge the flawed logic behind gender-inclusive language, advocating for common sense in a confusing world. But Lauren wasn't the only female politician taking a stand. Up next is Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from Georgia, who also fiercely confronts the funding of this woke agenda.
My amendment, I'm asking the House to support, strikes the funding for the Office of Resolution Management, Diversity, and Inclusion. The Office of Resolution Management, Diversity, and Inclusion in the VA is charged with promoting woke DEI initiatives. My amendment would strike over $86 million of funding for this woke office, which provides trainings for VA employees to teach them about their implicit bias. Just for you to understand what implicit bias means, because it was something I had to look up myself, it is described in ACORN. Implicit bias refers to a person's unconscious attitudes about other communities that can affect their behavior to those members. Unconscious attitudes, we are funding $86 million for people to be trained about things they feel that they don't know they feel. This makes absolutely no sense
I'm about to say, break that down for me, bro, because I don't know what the hell she talking about.
for the care of our great veterans. Instead of spending millions of tax dollars on woke ideology, we should put that money towards making the VA an agency that actually helps our heroes and our great veterans who served our military and our country and desperately need good care. When I'm at home in my district and I speak to veterans there, that is what I hear them talk about to me constantly, is their care that they want to receive at the VA, but yet they're failed so many times. Sick and injured veterans suffering with PTSD, depression, mental illness, and on the verge of suicide don't care if VA employees serving them have checked their white privilege. They just want to get the treatment that they need. Just for some examples for the House to hear about the type of training that happens in this DEI department that is costing the American tax people $86 million. A few examples are managing gender diversity in the VA, managing implicit bias. Remember, those are feelings you don't know you have. Valuing workforce diversity and workplace inclusion. Participating effective diversity and inclusion in the workplace for managers, supervisors, and team leaders. Understanding micro behaviors in the VA work environment. It's time to put $86 million to taking care of our veterans' health care needs. That's the right place to spend the money.
$86 million of taxpayers' money to teach something that the majority opposes. This fund.
Damn, they putting $86 million to that shit, yo. $86 million. Alright, chat, man. We gonna cap it off of here. If y'all want me to finish this video, make sure you give me 10 likes and I will get that to y'all the next day. You feel me? When I do see it, as soon as we hit it. God bless America. That's all I can say, y'all. Peace.